Hello and welcome back to the course. At the end of the last session we created our first list. So what is a list? A list is another object or data type that stores multiple other objects. So for example, a list can store objects of different data types like integers, floats, strings and so on. So let's start creating our first or second list. So we are opening square brackets and we are storing four integers, 1, 2, 3, 4, separated by a comma. And then let's see what happens if we run the cell. So it returns back, a list with 4 elements, 1, 2, 3, 4. And if we check the type of L, then we get back that it's a list. And as I said before, we can store elements of different data types. So for example, here we had integers. Now in our next list M, we store 3 float elements. So let's execute here the cell. And we can see here we have a list M with 1.5, 2.4 and 3.7. And also we can create a list with string objects. So for example, list N, we have a dog, we have a cat and we have a mouse. And we can have a list where we have different data types. So for example, list O contains an integer 1, it contains a float 2.4 and it contains the string object dog. And it's no problem, it works. And you can think of a list like a backpack. So for example, if you go hiking, you put into your bag a bottle of water, sandwich, 2 t-shirts and maybe a football. And everything fits into your bag. And that's the same as with a list. So you can actually put everything into a list and store it there. And we saw in the last session that we can transform a string into a list. So for example, we have this string, this is a string, and we can transform it by calling the function list. And we get back a list with all single elements of the string. So T, H, I, also an empty space, and also here the exclamation mark. So let's check again what data type we have here for our list P. And of course it's a list. And we can also count the amount of elements in the list. So in this case it's 17, and we can count here. And as we had before, also the empty spaces and the exclamation marks are also a string and also count for the length. So next we can take the arithmetic sum of all elements. So we take the sum of L. Let's check. L is the list with 4 integers, so a sum of 4 integers should work. So the sum of 1, 2, 3, 4 is 10. And we can also take the sum of list M. Let's check again. M here is the list with floats. So this should also work. So it's 7.6. And we try to take the sum of list N. So list N and list N contains strings. So the sum of strings, I'm not sure if this works. No, it doesn't work. So it gives us an error. So let's get back to list L. In list L there are 4 integers, 1, 2, 3, 4. And what we can do, there's a method, built-in method for lists called append. And there we can append another element to the end of the list. So if we append 5, let's see what happens. So then we get back a list with a 5 in the end. And if we repeat this process and call append one more time with the element 5, so we get another 5. And there's also a method that counts the number of occurrences of one element. So if we want to count the number of occurrences of element 5, we can do so by calling the method count. And there we have 2. So we have 2 times the element 5. And now we can also remove an element from a list by calling the method remove. And in brackets, we have the element we want to remove. And so we have here, we want to remove 5, and we have 2 times 5 in our list. And the method remove removes the first occurrence of an element. So let's check. Okay, so now we have only the 5 only once. And we can account again the 5, and it's, so we have one time we have the 5 in our list. And we can also reverse the sequence of our elements by calling the method reverse. So let's do this, and now you can see, so before the sequence of our list was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and now we have the reverse sequence 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And there's also a method called sort, where we can sort our list. So in the case where we have only integers in our list, Python automatically sorts from low to high. So let's see what happens. And there's also the possibility to reverse the order with the method sort. So there's a parameter called reverse, and it's by default it's set to false, but we can set it to true. And now we have the reverse order. And we can sort it again to the ascending order, so beginning with 1. Alright. And what we can also do, we can add a list and a list. So we have L, a list containing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we can add another list containing 3 integers, 6, 7, and 8. So now we have a combined or a concatenated list 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we have 8 elements in our list. And what is not working actually, so we cannot subtract two lists. So that's gives us an error message. Alright, so let's go back to our initial list. So we have a list with 5 elements, and let's try to multiply our list with 2, and let's see what we get. So actually Python here, it concatenates many copies. So in this case, 2 copies. And yeah, as you can see, this is not an element-wise multiplication. So if you see L times 2, you could also expect that L 1 is multiplied by 2, 2 is multiplied by 2, so that in the end we get 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. But this is not the case, so this is not how lists work. So we just get many copies of the same list here. And for the sake of completeness, division of a list with an integer is not possible. Alright, so that's it for the time being, and I hope to see you again in lists part 2. So see you in the next session. Bye.